Hello, it is Sunday, February 11th, 2024. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's a Sunday crossword, which means we're going to be solving the jumbo-sized grid, the big Sunday grid. It will have a theme, and the theme will be somehow related to its title, Bright Ideas. So I'm always curious to see how that ties in. We'll find out soon enough. And this bright edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Gita Karuti, Josh Allen, Jake Rodkin, and as always, the indomitable Shulmaster. So thank you so much to the four of them. They're benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, which means they keep this series going. They bring it back day in, day out, and I'm very grateful to them for that support. It really does sustain this whole thing. If you'd like to support the channel in that same way, you can head over to patreon.com/dailysolve or click the description field link, and there you'll find all of the bonus videos available to patrons. That does include this week's mini puzzle pseudo speed solve, which I forgot to mention yesterday, but which did go up on Friday, actually. So it's been up there for a couple days for patrons, and enjoy that if you have access to it. And then, of course, for benefactors, there's also the Let's Check the Crosses official mug. Thanks again to everybody who does support the channel. I really do appreciate it. And thanks as well if you support the channel by subscribing on YouTube, commenting on the videos now and then, liking the videos. Those things are all a big help. So thanks if you engage in those practices. And finally, there's the Daily Solve Discord chat server, which you can join via a description field link as well. It's a nice, friendly chat community, so do check it out. All right, let's get on to the crossword. This is entitled Bright Ideas. It's constructed by Peter Coaters, I suppose, who's constructed around half a dozen puzzles for the New York Times, and it was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So it's entitled Bright Ideas. Let's start solving and find out why. All right, okay, well, there's a big light bulb in the grid. This is actually very unusual to have a completely isolated part of the grid. So these answers they're not in any way contiguous with the rest of the answers in the grid. Interesting. Okay, well, we'll have to see what that means. I mean, it's quite obviously a light bulb being illustrated in the grid, but I guess the isolation of these clues probably doesn't mean anything else specific, but who knows? Let's find out eventually. All right, here we have Blanc Perignon. Dom Perignon is a champagne, so I think that'll be the answer there. Unearthed, if you unearthed something, you dug it up. And blank personality, online personality doesn't fit. Outer personality as opposed to not anything. I don't know. Duplicating machine, and that is italicized, and generally speaking, italicized clues are part of the theme. Mimeograph? A mimeograph is, I guess, technically a pre-photocopy form of document duplication. They produce kind of blue reproductions. I remember when I was young, you'd still occasionally encounter these. Not very often. I've never seen a mimeograph machine. I've never used one. I don't know what it looks like, but or process. I actually don't even know what. I don't know anything about it other than the results vaguely. But I wonder if that's the answer. Let's see. Computer text standard, Unicode. So Unicode is text standard in terms of letters and numbers, but also other symbols like punctuation and more esoteric symbols that are encoded into text on the for display on computer screens. Traditional Indonesian percussion instrument. Gamelan. There we go. I think I took 2 semesters of gamelan in music at university. It's a really interesting instrument. It's a large pitched percussion ensemble. So there's large metal bells essentially, and you have access to just sort of 1 or 2 of them. And so, in order to have access to the entire tonal range, you'll need to play a piece. You have a huge ensemble of people with all of these instruments. Some people have more complex instruments, and so typically the more advanced students will have those, and then the rest of you will just have a single one. But it's really interesting and produces a really extraordinary and unique sound. Anyway, blank personality, on-air personality, someone who's on television, say. 180s, U's. Right. This is one of at least two ways that U's can be spelled. Well, no, actually, it's in plural. I guess maybe it can only be spelled this way. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Could you spell it like that? I don't know. Anyway, it refers to a U-turn in a vehicle, usually. So there we go. A U-turn. Activist Chavez, Cesar Chavez, the labor activist. And then here we have annual Pebble Beach event Pro-Am. I think this is probably a golf tournament for professional amateur. I mean, I've certainly heard that term Pro-Am used to refer to, I think, especially golf tournaments in which both professionals and amateurs are welcome. Italian dipping sauce, marinara, I suppose, is often, at least in the U.S., it's often served as a dipping sauce with fried foods and things like that, which I doubt is its culinary tradition. But what can you do? All right, food pyramid group, grains. Okay, so it's one of the foods of the food pyramid: grains and dairy and vegetables and meats and whatever else. Okay, primary person informally. Primary is in a primary election. So a poll, a politico, a politician. There we go. So yes, result of a sand save in golf. That is a phrase I've never heard, as far as I can recall. I do not know what a sand save is. A pit, maybe, if you sort of. I guess if I had to guess what it meant, I would guess it means your ball is in a sand trap and you manage to hit it out of the sand trap effectively back onto the green or whatever, the fairway or whatever part of the golf course it is, and then maybe you leave a pit of sand. I don't know. Here's another primary person. Adam, as in the sort of prime person, the first person, according to the Bible anyway. Adam, would that be what it is? It's a result of a sand save. I don't know. I'm gonna leave Adam in here for a moment, and then if I don't get anything else around it, I'll delete it because I'm not certain about that. Acclaims. Renowns. Okay, so, par. Result of a sand save. Okay. So you hit par. Does a sand save specifically mean you manage to achieve the par score from a sand trap, maybe? Could be what it means. That's what I'm thinking based on that. So Adam worked well for that. Let's see. It helps you get the picture. Motion. No, I don't know. Not sure. That is hilarious. What a riot or something? I mean, there could be multiple possibilities here. I bet it's what a something, but I don't necessarily know what. Bygone tape type, VHS. So a cassette tape, a home video, was in the VHS format, that big boxy rectangular prism. It helps you get the picture. Movie camera? I mean, that's actually pretty straightforward. That would make sense. Movie camera helps you get a picture in the sense of a motion picture. Okay, so bone attached to the patellar tendon. Tibia? I don't know what patellar tendon. Is that the patella, like the kneecap? The fibia? Is that? I think that's a leg bone. Let's. Oh boy, I used to know these things. Let's look at the crosses. Letter-shaped groove used in framing. Well, so it'll start with a letter. That's all we know. No, is it fibia? Fibula. Fibula is the bone. Is it the tibia and the fibula? I think that's right. I think the fibula is a bone. And this is the other one. And you can sort of spoonerize them. So, fibia, fibula, tibia, you can, and they kind of, if you're not very anatomically knowledgeable, they're easy to confuse, which I think is what I just did. That doesn't really help me, though, this letter-shaped groove. T and F are, in fact, both letters, so that's not any more useful. What about this? If all goes well. If all goes well, well, no, it's not going to start with if. That's interesting. If all goes well in, I don't know. What about this one? Unit of stamps. A unit of stamps, a booklet or a carnet or I can't think. It'll probably be very obvious when I see it, but I'm not sure right now. Baseball manager who once instructed his team to pair up in threes. Is that Yogi Berra? Was Yogi Berra a manager? I only really know that Yogi Berra was a baseball player who was famous for these kind of minced phrases that were sort of self-contradictory, but in a very amusing and sometimes clever way. That might be. So that's why this answer makes me think that's the case. I didn't even know he was a manager, if so. Unit of, a sheet of stamps, a sheet of postage stamps. There we go. Okay, poet Federico Garcia. I know this. It's funny, I would have said Barca at first, but that's completely wrong. Lorca? T-slot, letter-shaped groove used in framing. T-slot. I mean, a slot is a groove, so that is probably... Oh, in framing. That sounds right. I'm sort of vaguely picturing something in my mind, but I couldn't explain it well because I don't deal with it very often. Let's see. Talk show host nominated for an Academy Award. I mean, it's certainly based on the film. It couldn't be anyone but Oprah. So there we go. If all goes well, I hope. Whisper from Don Juan. Te amo. So Don Juan, a famous lover. So te amo, I love you. Okay, that is hilarious. Oh, what a hoot. It wasn't what a riot, but it was the same idea. I was on the right track there. And a seeming eternity would be an eon. It's lasting a seeming eternity. It's lasting an eon. An indefinitely long time. Lacking would be, don't know. And what about the sashimi choice? Tuna sashimi would be a raw fish preparation. Subway stop abbreviation, probably station, STN. I would think that's... Oh, well, it could be STA. I've seen station abbreviated both ways for some reason, and I'd be curious to know if anybody else feels this way. To me, a subway station feels like STN and a railway station feels like STA, but that's probably not anything. I don't know why I feel that way. I don't know. I'm going to put STN for now because it is how it feels to me. Lacking. Not sure why I'm not seeing that. What about this? Verb in some tautologies. I mean, a tautology is something that is essentially self-justifying. So it's not necessarily convincing as an explanation because it sort of intrinsically explains itself. It's sort of what's an example of that? I'm not going to be able to think of a good example, but it is what it is, or something like that. You know, it's tautological in the sense that it basically just points back to itself. Nor, I don't know. Maybe this isn't STN. Maybe it is STA. What about this? Shook a leg. If you shake a leg, you get on with it. If you shook a leg, you got on with it. You moved, you hurried. So lacking, if you're lacking, you're short. If you lack money, you're short money. Lacking, short on, oh yes, okay, I see. If you're lacking money, you're short on money. There we go, so short on. Great, okay. Orange juice specification is no pulp. I wonder if it's significant that these two letters are are S's, and these two letters are N's. I wonder if it's significant that the borders of this light bulb are the same. Or sort of, probably not. It might just be a coincidence. We'll find out when we get to these and these. Hostile party knows. In other words, if you divided people into the yeses and nos, the hostile party could be the nos. Not sure. Something that's big with the current generation. Oh, these aren't going to be N's. You'd need 3 N's in a row. That's not going to be the case. Okay, never mind what I just said. Something that's big with the current generation. So does current have something to do? Oh, current generation. So electricity generation, power something, power plant. Okay, so all of these things are dealing with devices. We have a mimeograph, a movie camera, a power plant. These are all devices, sort of productive devices in some way. They all produce things. This produces duplicates. This produces motion picture film. This produces electricity. And I mean, I can see why a light bulb would be relevant to that. Oh, no, a light bulb is probably used in a mimeograph machine. And it's definitely used, well, it's not really used in a movie camera, but it's used in a projector that would run movie film, and it would be powered by a power plant. Or maybe it's that electricity powers all these things. Maybe that's what we're looking for. Well, power plant, I don't know. It's related somehow. Anyway, sorry, I don't know why I'm getting distracted by that. It just keeps solving the puzzle. Hostile party, it does look like nose. Netflix series starring the Fab Five. I don't know. Is that, oh, Queer Eye maybe? Is that hostile party? No or no-y? Oh, a foe. Short, oh, you're short of, not short on. Okay, I'm short of cash, you could say. Yeah, those are both valid. This one is just also valid and is the correct answer. And hostile party foe does make more sense. I should have thought of that earlier, but I didn't. Okay, well, there we go. So that's correct. And then to cite someone is to quote them. Okay, director Walsh of Old Hollywood. Raoul Walsh? Sportscaster Hershiser. Oh, here's another. This is similar to the Barraclue in that I've heard of Oral Hershiser, who is also a baseball player, I think, and I didn't know was a sportscaster. So similarly, we've had 2 baseball players clued for their, I suppose, post-play careers. And I didn't know that in either case, but I think this is the answer. I do know the name Oral Hershiser at the very least. Okay, Che Guevara wore one. He wore a beret famously, as he's often depicted. And Easy on Me singer, don't think I know the song, but it certainly looks like Adele. I'm fairly certain that'll be the answer. It may be a lot outside the city. 1 acre, so you might have a 1 acre property outside the city. It would certainly be unusual to have a 1 acre property inside of a city, unless you're, I guess, unbelievably wealthy, which some people are. Verb in some tautologies are. So these are that. These are these, I guess you could say, would be a very simple tautology. Subway stop, it is station. Okay, well, it is at STA, so there goes my whole theory. Chicago booth offering in brief. Booth is capitalized. What does that mean? I'm not sure. If it refers to a company or institution or what. In person, I don't know. The thing in is this thing on a microphone. Okay, so it's another thing. I mean, a microphone, some microphones are powered, some microphones are not powered. With electricity, I mean. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, these, again, they're still devices. We're still broadly on track there. Blue blank, symbol of Delaware. Blue hen? I mean, I've heard of the blue hen. Maybe it's a symbol of Delaware. It seems plausible. Those in Spanish. Esos? Sad response, let's just check that. Sad response to how was the game? Sad response would be, we lost. And then a cereal box abbreviation. Oh, NT. Cereal box, what would abbreviation on a cereal box? Oh, net weight. You do see that sometimes on packaging, net weight. Okay, NTWT. So what about this one? Heretofore poetically. Ere now, so before now, until now, in poetic language could be ere now. Ere as a poetic form of before. Student's do-over would be a retest, take the exam again. If one unleashes something upon someone, one lets at, maybe? Let me at him, you could say. Unleash me upon him, you could say, in a more portentous sort of manner. 1974 CIA spoof. I've never seen this. Is it? I'm going to say is it Dan Aykroyd, but that might be a different spy spoof, which I also haven't seen. Anyway, I do know the existence of this film, Spies, and I think they maybe even render the text similar to how MASH is rendered with asterisks in between it or something like that. Anyway, this is certainly the answer, even though I've not seen the film. Failed device meant to communicate with the dead. Interesting. Failed device meant to communicate with the dead. I don't know what that is. Interesting. Like a tuxedo bib, pleated. Pleats, is that sort of this section of a shirt, tuxedo shirt or something? Is pleated? There certainly are pleats in. Oh, is it the bit that goes down? That can be pleated. I don't know. Anyway, I think it's the answer. I don't wear tuxedos frequently enough to be very certain about this, except that I think that is the answer. Sportage automaker, Kia Sportage or Sportage. It's a car, Kia auto brand. Language with 44 consonant symbols. Interesting. Is it Thai in 4 letters starting with a T? I bet it is. That's a very interesting fact. With circled letters reading clockwise. American icon, born 2/11/1847. Thomas Edison? With circled letters reading clockwise. Oh, right. Oh, Thomas Alva Edison, and then Edison will be spelled in here. I guess we don't know where it starts, but I bet this is the case because it is the proper number of letters. And he did not invent the first light bulb, but certainly was a light bulb pioneer. College students' earnings. I don't know that. What is that? College students' earnings. A job. It's not going to be a job because J isn't in Edison. Absinthe flavoring. Anise. Absinthe has that strong anise flavor. So, yeah, we can spell Edison now. And it starts where you'd expect it to, right in that corner there. So Edison, great, perfect. So, oh, no, never mind. I was going to say, I don't know. I'm not sure what the college student's earnings is. I guess we might as well solve this bit. It's completely cut off from the grid, so there's no reason to solve it at any particular other time. We're not going to get more crosses from it. So if one hovers menacingly, one looms. If you loom, you're sort of hovering menacingly. Tangential remarks are side notes. There we go. You could make a side note, an aside, a tangential remark. When the original Big Five ruled Hollywood, that was the studio era of Hollywood, when actors and directors were contracted to studios and would stay with the same studio for years often. Magical objects are talismans. There we go. Said to have various magical properties. Leaves on the shelf could be tea. You could have boxes of tea or tea bags on the shelf. Suffix with east or west, eastern or western. And then an airline to Oslo would be SAS, which might be Scandinavian Air Services or something. I don't know. But it is an airline. I do recognize it, at least in that respect. Support staff abbreviation could be assistants, maybe. And if one is ethically indifferent, one is amoral, right? You're not immoral. You're just indifferent to the morality. Mirror. To imitate someone would be to mirror them. There we go. Having knobby bumps, nodular. Nodules are kind of knobby bumps. So if you have them, you could be nodular. I don't know if you'd call a person nodular, but a surface could be nodular. College students' earnings. Oh, credits. Oh, I see. It's not fine. I was thinking of a job or sort of, the way that graduate students are paid, but no, it's not that. It's credits. The class earnings, essentially, towards their degree. Okay, relative of limited. So this is a form of company formation. So a limited company, an incorporated company, LTD or INC. And then here we have hospital areas are ERs, so emergency rooms in North American terminology. Okay, well, good. There we go. IV placers are RNs, registered nurses. They might be in an ER. And then IV there for intravenous. So for an intravenous drip could be placed by an RN, a nurse. Oh, right. And here's our revealer, I think. Legacy of 72 down, 7 of which appear among this puzzle's answers, and 1 more suggested by the black squares in the middle of the grid. Oh, right. Ah, so are these things invented or sort of, I don't know, perfected or something by Thomas Edison? Inventions. Wow, that's remarkable. I bet in some cases it's disputed whether he was the original inventor of all of these things, because I think several of these things were being developed in parallel at the time in a few places. But I don't know. I'm not a historian. I have no idea. So anyway, we'll broadly take that to be the case. The movie camera, the mimeograph. Wow, that's amazing. The mimeograph that really stuck around for a long time. I mean, obviously, so did the movie camera and all these other things. But anyway, the terrible Tsar, Ivan the Fourth. I wouldn't have remembered he was the fourth, but Ivan the Terrible is certainly a memorable sobriquet. And actress Sorvino, Mina Sorvino, I think. Mina. I think I always confuse Mina. I can't remember which it is. I think there's another actor whose name is similar, who I often get confused with this person, and I'm not exactly sure which is which. Place for poisson. So this is fish in French. So you'd find them in the sea, which is mer. And then some nights of... Oh, and the reason you know it's a French word is because there's a French word in the clue. I mean, you might quickly misread this as poisons or something, but no, it's two S's there, so it's poisson for fish in French. Okay, some nights of celebration are eves, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, etc. To feel discontented is to repent? Now, I'm certain this is going to be inventions. To be pine? I don't think that's... I don't know. Maybe I do have something wrong. Let's look at this. Designer Miller. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know that. Ash can? What is this? Metal receptacle by fireplace. Yeah, it probably is ash can. So does that help me with this? Designer Miller. No, it doesn't. Table scraps, orts. So this is not a word that I really use in my life, but I do recognize it. It's a bit of food as an ort. So crumbs, table scraps, orts. Okay, designer Miller. Nicole, maybe? Feel discontented. To... I mean, it won't be an N. That doesn't look right at all. Repine? I don't think I know this word. That's interesting. Feel discontented. To feel discontented. To repine. I mean, to pine is to be discontented, to want something, to yearn for it. So I could see how to repine would be to feel discontented. And Mira Sorvino, I do think that sounds... I mean, it's one of the two plausible possibilities I had. Okay, so this really does look like Nicole. It's hard to imagine. I guess it could be Nicola. Okay, never mind. Well, it probably is an L there at least, but don't necessarily know the end. Brand name on a Go-Gurt box. So Go-Gurt is sort of what, it's like squeezable yogurt pouches for children. And I know that Yoplait makes yogurt generally, so they might make that as well. Okay, so if one swerves at sea, one yaws. You yaw the ship. You swerve it. And an organization that sets worker exposure limits, OSHA. This is the agency of the U.S. federal government that deals with occupational safety. So there we go. Athlete Arthur Ashe. Wow, look at that. I'm doing very well on the sports figures today. We have Arthur Ashe. We had Oral Hershiser. Yogi Berra. I'm doing much better than I ordinarily do in spotting these. Object in the classic painting, his master's voice, a phonograph. So that's the classic painting of the dog with the cocked head listening to the phonograph, and used in the logo of the record label HMV, his master's voice. Okay, and so that's here we have another Thomas Edison invention, because it's an italicized clue. All right. Ohio home to Cedar Point, the roller coaster capital of the world. I've certainly heard of I think I've mentioned this before, but I've heard of Cedar Point because I've known people from Ohio who have spoken with fond memories of it, but I don't remember what this is. Sand something? I don't know. Okay. Alley-oop, that's a basketball term. And then bygone tape dispenser. Oh, right, okay. Bygone. So finally one of these that is, well, no, I guess a mimeograph is bygone as well. I want a phonograph as well, because we don't really use a phonograph. I mean, do you still call a record player a phonograph if it doesn't have the big sort of sound horn thing? I don't know. Anyway, bygone tape dispenser. Not sure. Back in the day, once, you could say, once when I was young, back in the day. So bygone tape dispenser, I'm not sure about that one. You can trip on it in the desert. A peyote from cactuses, and it's a psychotropic drug. So what is the Ohio home to Cedar Point? Roller coaster capital of the world. Sandusky or Sandusky? Sandusky. It's a T or a K. K maybe for stock here. Sandusky, Ohio. I think I've heard of that before. I don't know that I had connected it in my mind to Cedar Point, but I'm fairly confident this is the answer. And then bygone tape dispenser is stock. Still don't know. Okay, sharer's possessive. So someone sharing something would say this is our tape to share from this mysterious dispenser. Steering implement, an oar maybe if you're in a small boat, a rowboat. And novelist Dan Brown, who wrote the Da Vinci Code. And then to leave one's mark in a way is to sign, right? Okay, so you'd literally leave your mark by signing a document. Barbershop sounds are snips, so the snip of the scissors. And you could say hide nor hair. I saw neither hide nor hair of him again. He was completely gone. Okay, kind of bond. An ionic bond is a chemical concept that I remember learning about many years ago in school and could not explain to you in any great detail now. If you're downhearted, you're in a funk maybe. You're in a snit. I would say in a funk is more downhearted than in a snit, which is more annoyed. Let's try that. Gender abbreviation. FEM for female. Fairly straightforward. Lab dropper, a pipette. There we go. The little dropper in a lab, the little, like an eyedropper kind of thing. Bard's instrument. Classically, you often see bards depicted with a lute in paintings and things like that. Bagel topper, schmear, so cream cheese or whatever else you're putting on your bagel. Could be scallion schmear or something maybe. Seasonal seasonal inflatable of Santa. Spot is a site. Prepare to skate. Lace up. There we go. You're lacing up your well, I guess, yeah, you could be your roller skates or your ice skates. Okay, so a stock picker, bygone tape dispenser. Oh, stock ticker, as in ticker tape, right. Yes, okay. Wow, that's funny that Edison invented that. Weird. Okay, so yeah, that device that is, I don't, maybe it was used for other things as well, but certainly as the name suggests, it was used to print out ongoing stock prices. And then there was a thing called a ticker tape parade where I don't really know what the purpose of that was, but you'd have ticker tape everywhere. I don't really know. This is like another thing I could just very vaguely remember still sort of existing when I was very young, but I wasn't old enough to have any context for any of it. Anyway, without gender in Latin, neuter, There we go. And then burdensome amount. A ton of something would be a burdensome amount of it. And then a spot. So a spot is in a location, would be a site. Okay, so that makes neuter look pretty. I mean, I was fairly convinced that would be correct, but in case we needed confirmation, there we go. I guess the suffix could be different. I don't know. We'll just keep solving. Cougar, a puma. Is a puma a cougar? I think they're the same thing. After school helper would be a. Not sure. Character with character. An emoji. There we go. So an emoji is a character in the sense of, actually in the sense of a Unicode character. So it's encoded into an image for use in sort of text display, and it's got character because they depict obviously faces and other things. Cat's paw. Cat's paw, P-A. Cat's father would be a Tom. So, right, a Tom, a male cat. And then Anthony of In the Heights and Hamilton. I don't know. These are both Lin-Manuel Miranda musicals, but I don't know. I'm not sure who this is, sorry. Hideki blank, World War II Prime Minister Tojo. There we go. Hideki Tojo. I'm fairly confident that's correct. Oh, so maybe this is Ramos? Maybe it's a name, so it's perfectly plausible. Let's see. Egyptian god of death and rebirth, Osiris. There we go. So, an after-school helper could be a tutor, I guess. You could have, lessons after school. And then soldier's helmet in old slang, tin pot or something? Something like that. And then if one didn't stop, one kept on doing something. One with 2 years to go informally is a sophomore. So in sort of secondary education, or I guess university, in the US, you've got freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. So 2 years to go after sophomore. Giant Mel Ott. Wow, look at this. I'm flying on the sports clues. Mel Ott. I think also a baseball player. Is that 3 baseball players today? Oops. Wow, that's extraordinary. And I'm 3 for 3 on them. And then actually, I think I'm 5 for 5 on the sports figures generally. That's ridiculous. It's either 4 or 5. I can't remember. Anyway. Failed device meant to communicate with the dead. Spirit. Oh, maybe tin pot is wrong. I don't know why you would have a double P there. Spirit. Plane. Spirit plane? I'm thinking of that in the sense of the sort of the astral plane, but when it says a device, it makes you think of an actual plane, a physical plane in the sense of a device. So maybe that's wrong. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Rubik with a cube. Erno Rubik, who was Hungarian, who invented the Rubik's Cube. Fairly certain that's correct. Late harvest month, October, would be, sort of late harvest season. And then guys in commercials could be pitch men, so people pitching products, selling them. Common spot for a wasp nest, the eave of a house. Certainly wasps will construct nests in such places. Fertility clinic donations would be ova, so plural of ovum for egg. And then primatologist Fossey, so Diane Fossey, right, who's certainly well known for her work with primates. A tilling tool is a hoe, so you could till the land with a hoe. And then Shelley's To a Skylark. Look at that. We've got an ode that is being included in the crossword, but without the word ode. We're not using the word ode. Nonetheless, it is still a reference to the official poetic form of the New York Times crossword, so have to tip my hat to it. Okay, 270 degrees from Sur, so that would be south, so este for east is 270 degrees away. I wonder why it's 270 degrees away and not just 90 degrees, which is the same. Well, it's the same for our purposes here anyway. I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter. Anyway, tastes, tries. If you taste something, you try it. Could be, that's taste as a verb. It could be a noun, but I'm not sure what it is if so. Place to find a, oh no, but I think it is this, because a place to find a crook, the crook of your arm, your elbow. That R, I might not have jumped to that without that R, so that was helpful. Board of a cosmetics company. An emery board, which you could use to file your fingernails. I always forget if this is O or E. I think it's an O. Blanket. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm going to leave that blank for now. I'm going to leave that blanket for now. Welcome policy at a bar. Welcome policy at a bar. Welcome policy. Not sure. Seventh heaven, ecstasy. If you're in seventh heaven, you're in rapture. You're extremely happy. You're in ecstasy. To turn bad, for food to turn bad, would be for it to rot, for instance. And PIs, e.g., are private investigators or detectives, which can be abbreviated a number of different ways, but in 3 letters. Could be tech, T-E-C, for detective. So let's try that. Soldier's helmet. Tin pot. What did I have there before? No, that is what I had before, and I didn't like it because of the P's. Strange. Tin hat. Oh, spirit phone? Oh, that's hilarious. I'll have to look that up. Spirit phone. Failed device used to communicate with the dead. Wow. I hope that's the case. That's very interesting and funny to me. Blanket. Oh, I see. So it's blanket as a verb, not a noun. So if something blankets something, it overlies it. So it is E. It is emery with an E. Good. I'm glad I left that blank. This looks like havoc. It is. Chaos is havoc. So, disorder. And then welcome policy at a bar. Oh, I see. No cover. There's no cover charge to get in. So in other words, it's a policy of welcome. Come on in without paying a cover. And there we go. All right. So what was here? Here was our revealer. Our revealer being the central clue that ties the whole puzzle together. Look at that. It felt like I was moving through this somewhat more quickly than an ordinary Sunday, but it always ends up taking 40 minutes. It always does, every week, just plus or minus a very small amount. It's so interesting. Anyway, the legacy of Thomas Edison, 7 inventions, 7 of which appear among this puzzle's answers, and 1 more suggested by the black squares in the middle of the grid. Right, okay, so that's the light bulb. And then I guess here we've got the little filament illustrated by the circled letters of spelling out Edison. I think that's probably what that's meant to be, the filament of the light bulb. All right, so a very well illustrated puzzle today. It's extremely extensively themed. And then here we have Thomas Alva Edison, and then how many did it say there were? 7, yes. So we had the movie camera, the microphone, the power plant. Oh boy, I'm going to struggle to find all of these. Because they're not, well, actually, you know what? I can find them because they'll be italicized. Okay, so it's the movie camera. Sorry about this. This is not very efficient. Was that the only one in the acrosses? The movie camera, the mimeograph, the microphone, the power plant, the spirit phone, the phonograph. Oh no, I've still missed some. Oh, the stock ticker, that's 6. Did I miss one in the acrosses? Was there really only one in the acrosses? Sorry, what a waste of time this is. So there were, 7 of which power plant. Did I get that one just now? Anyway, I don't know. There were 7 of these. I'm not going to keep doing this. There we go. I think I might have found them all eventually, but maybe not. In any case, those are some inventions and associated with Thomas Edison. And that was a very impressive puzzle. I mean, it was really, like I say, it was very thoroughly and exhaustively themed all throughout. And we've even got the kind of beams of light, the rays of light radiating off of the light bulb there. So yes, very well constructed. Well done to Peter Coders. And that's that for the Sunday puzzle. I'll be back tomorrow with the Monday edition of the New York Times crossword. Much quicker. It won't take me 40 minutes. I can be fairly confident of that. So join me for that. But until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Sunday. Take care.